Mafioso fans, mob movies, right? Seen every mob film, loved them all. Goodfellas, The Casino, Donnie Brasco, blah blah blah, on and on and on. And today I'm going to talk about a picture that I'm a big fan of. Definitely an acquired taste. It's not an obvious choice for a mob picture, but I am telling you, it does as good a job demonstrating how La Cosa Nostra works, in a major city, New York City in this case. And, basically controls law enforcement. I'm talking about Prince of the City, right? Prince of the City, Treat Williams, Sidney Lumet, 1981. Uh, a lot of people would probably say, well, okay, you're saying, Prince of the City and Goodfellas. What in the hell do these two films have in common? And the answer to that is quite a bit. Robert Leuci, connected to, I believe it was a Colombo family. Henry Hill, connected. Neither one, well, Robert Lucci is actually closer to being made than Henry Hill. Henry Hill's connected to the Casey family, right? In many ways, Lucci, who is a New York City police detective, special investigative unit, has way higher connections than Henry Hill. Way higher in the mob than Henry is, actually. I mean, he's dealing with, essentially millions of dollars worth of narcotics flowing into New York City. Okay, and essentially the film makes it clear that the mafia kind of controls it. I mean, he is owned by these wise guys. His cousin Nick Napoli and Rocky Gazzo, two great character actors. Tony Manufo plays Rocky Gazzo, and then Ron Michon plays Danny Cello's cousin Nick Napoli, who's essentially kind of a capo. You get the feel. And Henry Hill, obviously only half Sicilian, so there's that right off the bat. And then, connected to the Lucchese family, but we're not talking about anywhere near the same level, believe it or not. But obviously Goodfellas is, without question, a far superior film on every level. There's no doubt about that. I think it's one of Marty's best one or two pictures, in my opinion. But the thing about Prince of the City that is so notable, and basically these guys are controlled by the mafia, and that's why the United States government had to step in eventually and take on, the whole thing of the organized crime and so forth. So, in Goodfellas, obviously, Henry's experience is completely different. It's kind of the workaday mafia soldier, and the cops are part of it, but, it's hijacking cigarettes. It's Mickey Mouse stuff. In Prince of the City, this is like, again, millions of dollars of smack coming in to New York. There's even a reference, a character in it, the King. The King is Frank Barnes. It's based on Frank Barnes, uptown drug dealer. Ridley Scott made it, whatever movie, American Gangster, watching that versus something like Prince of the City, it's kind of like, and it was an okay picture, but it's kind of like watching junior varsity high school basketball versus the NBA. Lumet is the quintessential New York filmmaker, along with Marty, Scorsese, and of course Woody Allen. Those three. That should have been New York Stories. Sidney Lumet should have been in that, triptych. Coppola is not really in New York. I know he went to Hofstra or whatever, but he is not in New York the way Sidney Lumet is, right? Lumet directed the picture, and just the film's got some flaws. We'll come back to that in a minute. Softer moments. I think Treat Williams is brilliant in the film. I think he's fantastic, and I think he does an amazing job, and really, I think just has an unbelievable career. But, as Danny Cello, kind of as a paisan and that whole thing, there are times where it's just like, I don't totally buy it. Certain things he does in the performance at times, but still, I still think he's amazing in it. think, Lumet does, as he says, working with Sidney brought out the best of him in him. There's just certain things. I think, he's younger in his career, but still, I mean, it's really powerful. But the real strength of the picture, as I said, a couple of guys I already mentioned, some of the mob guys, like I said, Gatso, that's Tony Manufo, and then, Ramachone is Nick Napoli, but then...
How are you, Rocky? What's the shit I hear you do for a transfer on narcotics? No way, where'd you get that? I'm in. Meet you where you're at. Let's get out of here.
It's Nick Napoli, but then guys like, Carl Gretty character, that's Tony Benedetto, who, great character actors in like Public Greenwich Village and a bunch of things like that. Carmine Caridi is Gino, the other kind of corrupt SIU guy who kind of raised Danny Cello. Lindsay Krause, his wife, I mean, it's unbelievable performance, She has some amazing scenes, what is it? Ron Karabatsis plays the Benedetto, the corrupt bail bonds guy they're trying to set up. The DAs, Rick Capolino, that's played by Norman Parker. He's unbelievable. Paul Roebling plays Brooks Page. Bob Balaban.
Shows the direct and absolute correlation of police corruption to drug traffic. You cannot have one without the other, no matter how you slice it. Cielo is a corrupt narcotics agent, and what this is all about, finally, is narcotics! Sorry.
It's my pal John Crowther. Used to call him Bobby Balaban. See my short film, Chow John Crowther. He knew Bob. He's Steve Inwood is DA, the last guy that Treat Williams works with, Danny Cello. His name's the character's name is Mario Vincenti. I mean, these are terrific performances. I mean, it's just, and then some of the other cops, like Kenny Marino's, Don Bando, even though that's not a big part. Some of these guys are non-actors, but then Richard Falangi, I think he's a Lebanese actor, plays Marinaro, Joe Marinaro. I mean, it's incredible. And then of course Jerry Orbach, unbelievably amazing performance of Gus Levy. So those elements are just so strong in Sidney Lumet's direction, and knowing how to make a film like this, which is very complicated.